Musical memories, songs that will last. Musical memories, songs from above. Musical memories, songs of God's love. Be thou my vision, O Lord of my heart, not be all else to me, save that thou art. Be thou my best thought by day or by night, waking or sleeping, thy presence my life. Be thou my wisdom and thou my true word, I ever with thee and thine with me, Lord. Thou my great Father, I thy true Son, thou in me dwelling and I with thee one. High King of heaven, my victory won, may I reach heaven's joys, oh bright heaven's sun. Heart of mine own heart, whatever befall, still be my vision, my ruler of all. Welcome to Musical Memories. I'm Martha Garvin. Did you know that? I have a friend who literally told me this was her mother's very favorite song. It's somewhat unfamiliar to us, isn't it? Or could you tell that I was not quite as familiar with it, although I've known it for many, many years? I want to quickly tell you what I have planned for us. It was just a few weeks ago that I had the privilege of holding a sing-along with a church here in Missouri, actually, at which time a lady came up to me. Can you see it? I hope you can. Came up to me and gave me this book. Said, I thought you'd like to see it. Well, the minute I saw this book, I thought of you, and I asked her, can I please borrow the book? And she said, yes, so I have to do this program so I can get this book back to her. You recognize this face, don't you? And so did I. George Beverly Shea. Who do you think of when I say George Beverly Shea? Billy Graham, of course. But today, we are going to do Hymn Treasures from the George Beverly Shea hymn book. It's just a little paperback book. You see, it's kind of marked up. It's pretty old. George Beverly Shea, and you can tell by the picture that I'm showing you, it's been quite some time. Mr. Shea, I think, is still singing at Billy Graham campaigns, and I think he's quite white-haired now, as we all are getting there. I'm so glad you're listening, and I'm hoping that you know these songs. Now, they're not songs that Mr. Shea wrote. They're songs that he put together for this hymn book. I know a great Savior, I do, don't you? It's in George Beverly Shea's hymn book of Hymn Treasures. I hope you know it and can sing it with me. I know a great Savior, I do, don't you? I have in His favor, I do, don't you? For grace I implore him, I worship and adore him, I love and adore him, don't you? Don't you? I need him to lead me, I do, don't you? Heaven's ransom to feed me, I do, don't you? Whatever betide me, I need him beside me, in mercy to hide me, I do, don't you? I love to be near him, I do, don't you? He seeks and he hears me, I do, don't you? For me he is caring the rose I am bearing, I love him for sharing, I do, don't you? I want him to use me, I do, don't you? For service to choose me, I do, don't you? I want him to bless me, to own and confess me, completely possess me, I do, don't you? A little different, isn't it? Have you ever heard George Beverly Shea sing that? I can't say that I have, but I thought it was quite a unique song in this hymn book of Dr. Shea's. And I think it is Dr. Shea. I'm sure he's been honored several times. Friends all around me are trying to find. All that I want is in Jesus. And to me, that kind of says what Dr. Shea would want to say. Friends all around me are trying to find what the heart yearns for and sin undermine. I have a secret, I know where it's found. Only true pleasure in Jesus abound. All that I want is in Jesus. He satisfies, joy he supplies. Life would be worthless without him. All things in Jesus I find. No other thrills is the joy chords within, and through more else is the mission of sin. He knows the pain of the heart sorely tried. Both need and want will by him be supplied. All that I want is in Jesus. He satisfies, joy he supplies. Life would be worthless without him. All things in Jesus I find. Jesus is all this poor world needs today. Blindly they strive for the darken their way. Oh, to draw back from the grim curtain of time, one glimpse of Jesus and all will be bright. All that I want is in Jesus. He satisfies, joy he supplies. We're doing hymns from this hymn book that George Beverly Shea, I think in the early 60s. It was probably in the middle 60s that I was called into a church in one of the suburbs of Chicago, where we live. And they said, and it was a rather small church. Now, when I say rather small, I think they maybe ran around 100. And they said to me, Martha, would you be available for, and they gave me a certain Sunday, George Beverly Shea is going to sing in our church. I said, really? And I was available for them, and so I went to that church. They were dedicating a new piano. Now, someone was a friend of Dr. Shea's in that small church. And so they wanted to feature him. And I said, yes, I want to play for Dr. Shea. And so I went that Sunday morning. George took our kids to our regular church. And so I got to meet Dr. George Beverly Shea. I was quite amused when I met him. Now, we didn't practice or anything. I just showed up to dedicate this new piano that the church had. And there were probably, like I said, around 100. And I was introduced to him. And he quickly said, I'll do How Great Thou Art in A flat. And I kind of kidded him, and I said, well, Mr. Shea, what if I couldn't transpose? He says, oh, I know you can. As I tell you that story, I think we have to do at least one verse of How Great Thou Art, because I think George Beverly Shea made that song almost, do I say popular? That's not a good word, I know, but many people have been blessed as he sang, oh, Lord my God. I can't do it like him, but we can do it together. When I in awesome wonder consider all the worlds thy hands have made, I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder, thy power throughout the universe displayed. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. I am so tempted to sing other verses, but I want us to sing songs from this hymn book, paperback hymn book that Dr. Shea put together. Anna Halder Lilliness, I wonder if they were friends. They could have been. How can I be lonely? One is walking with me over life's uneven way. It's in Dr. Shea's book. One is walking with me over life's uneven way, constantly supporting me each moment of the day. How can I be lonely when such fellowship is mine with my blessed Lord divine? How can I be lonely when I've Jesus only to be my companion and unfailing guide? Why should I be weary or my path seems dreary when he's walking by my side? Days may bring their burdens and their trials as I go, but my Lord is near me and helps them lighter grow. Life may have its crosses or its losses or increase. Jesus meets them all with companion and unfailing guide. Why should I be weary, or my path seems dreary, when he's walking by my side? In life's rosy morning, when the skies above are clear, in its noontime hours with many cares and problems near, or when evening shadow falls at closing of my day, Jesus will be there always. How can I be lonely when I've Jesus only to be my companion and unfailing guide? Why should I be weary, or my path seems dreary, when he's walking by my side? You kind of hear Haldor Lillinus's theology in that, don't you? I think so. I wanted to share with you, pardon me, my baby girl, Lisa. And if you've seen several programs, and if you've watched for some time, she's our redhead, our baby girl who teaches first grade in Nashville. Nashville just, in the last few months, had a campaign by Dr. Graham, and Lisa was privileged to sing in the choir. You know, it's a volunteer choir that they send out for many churches to participate, and so they sent in. Lisa volunteered to go with the choir, enjoyed it immensely. And you know, Dr. Graham has had such a wonderful, wonderful worldwide impact on the world. And so they were there in Nashville, and you know how thousands of people come. And Lisa said to me, "Mother, I wish you could have been there." Well, so do I. She said, Dr. Graham, I think he's in his 80s, isn't he? Kind of had to be helped to the platform, and you know, he's having health problems and helped to the podium. And when George Beverly Shea came on, she said, and I think he's in his 90s, he kind of hopped right up on the platform, Mother, and went up right to the podium to sing, and he sang. Here he is in his 90s, and he has this marvelous bass voice, doesn't he? Oh, how I wish we could have had him on the program. Wouldn't that have been a treat? But today we are singing songs that he compiled in this hymn book, Hymn of Treasures, that a dear friend of Lister Musical Memories loaned me. And as I looked through the book, I could not believe it when I couldn't find "I'd Rather Have Jesus." You know, Dr. Graham, I said the wrong word, Dr. Shea, Dr. George Beverly Shea, was the one who wrote the music. And I hope I have my story right. I think I do. Mrs. Rhea Miller was renting a room to Mr. Shea when he was a young man. And in fact, it says copyright 1922. That's pretty old, isn't it? He sat down at her piano and saw the words to "I'd Rather Have Jesus," and he wrote the music. And it's been worldwide from then on, hasn't it? Let's do it. I'd rather have Jesus than silver or gold. I'd rather be his than have riches untold. I'd rather have Jesus than houses or land, and I'd rather be led by his nail-pierced understand than to be the king of a vast domain, or be held in sin's dread sway. I'd rather have Jesus than anything this old world affords today. I'd rather have Jesus than men's applause. I'd rather be faithful to his dear cause. I'd rather have Jesus than worldwide fame, and I'd rather be true to his holy name. I'd rather have Jesus than anything this old world affords today. He's fairer than the lilies of rarest bloom, and he's sweeter than the honey from out of the comb. He's all that my hungering spirit needs. I'd rather have Jesus and let him lead than to be the king of a vast domain, and be held in sin's dread sway. I'd rather have Jesus than anything this old world affords today. What a wonderful testimony. Well, as usual, I've brought more songs than we can ever get together, and yes, I included How Great Thou Art because I thought that is synonymous with George Beverly Shea, isn't it? Although it was not in the book, I had to include I'd Rather Have Jesus if we're doing a program about George Beverly Shea and what he has compiled. I just thought it was apropos and did not want to leave that one out. I have been blessed. And the Be Thou My Vision is somewhat, I want to say liturgical, wouldn't you say? But I like it. I like it a lot. Wonderful Sunday morning song, isn't it? Sure. I'm so glad you've taken the time today to share with me these 30 minutes that go by so quickly. I'm so glad you listened and dropped me a note. You know, I get many, many requests for I'd Rather Have Jesus. Now, this isn't request day, but if you wrote me and said, Martha, could you please sing I'd Rather Have Jesus? Yes, I included that today. I love it. I love your mail. You've been very kind to Sport Musical Memories, and there are costs, of course, and you're aware of them. So until the next time, that it's me and you around the piano singing these blessed old songs like Dr. Shea put together in this hymn book. I'll have to send the book back to its owner now that we've enjoyed it. And another song, and we just got such a short time left, another song that we haven't done for some time that was included in the book is My Lord Has Garments of Wondrous Fine, Ivory Palaces. I'll see you next time. I'm Martha Reed Garvin with Musical Memories. I'll see you then.